Hey guys, E10 Sun here from Sunbros, and it's time for another hero quick look video. And today we're going to be talking about Zanis. Zanis is a class warrior, role is finisher. As you guys can see in the bottom left, his attack damage is pretty high up, everything else is pretty much below average. Zanis' passive is Dragoon. Each kill or assist increases Zanis' attack damage, and it can stack up to 20 times. And it also restores his maximum HP. Zanis' first ability, Bloodworm, causes him to remove all debuffs and increases movement speed, while enhancing his next normal attack to deal AoE damage and a movement speed reduction to all enemies nearby. Zanis' second ability is Tail Sweep. Zanis strikes the ground, dealing damage. If enemy units are hit, Zanis gains an attack speed boost. Zanis' ult is Dragon's Wrath. Zanis strikes a target, dealing true damage, and knocks enemies into the air briefly. For the next 5 seconds, Zanis takes less damage, and his normal attacks deal true damage. Next, we're going to move on to Zanis' pros and cons. First, we're going to be talking about his pros, which is things you're going to want to concentrate on when you're playing as Zanis, and things you're going to want to avoid when you're playing against him. His first pro is he has free attack damage. His passive is pretty powerful. You're talking about gaining a pretty large amount of attack damage throughout the game. 240 attack damage by 20 stacks on kills and assists is a very large amount, and the ability to regen health doesn't hurt either. Zanis' second pro is that he deals true damage. Not many heroes in this game get the privilege of dealing true damage, but especially not in the form of an ult. Not only does Zanis get true damage in the form of his ultimate ability, but for the next 5 seconds, he also deals true damage on each auto attack. Zanis' third and final pro is that he has great mobility. With his first ability, Bloodworm, Zanis can remove all debuffs and increase his movement speed by 80%, making Zanis one of the absolute best heroes at getting out of tough situations. Next, we're going to be moving on to Zanis' cons. These are things you're going to want to avoid when you're playing with Zanis, and things you're going to want to exploit when you're playing against him. Con number 1, Zanis lacks overall damage. Even if you build him full damage, he just doesn't do enough damage to really compare to the other warriors in the game. It's a big time issue, and it actually parlays into our second con of Zanis, is that he lacks tankiness. Even if you build him really tanky as a warrior, he doesn't have the same kind of tankiness as other warriors. So this leaves Zanis in a little bit of a box, just like we talked about with Maganga, where he doesn't really tank well enough to be tanky. He doesn't do enough damage to be really high damage, and he kind of gets stuck in between being a not so great hero. It's one of the reasons why Zanis rates for me as one of the worst heroes in the game. And that opinion is not everyone's opinion, but it's a pretty baseline opinion. Zanis is really not a great hero to play. And as if that wasn't bad enough, the third con makes it even worse. Zanis is extremely weak early game. And the reason for that is because the majority of his damage and his output in actually being able to farm and get things done is his ultimate. So to wrap up, Zanis doesn't do very good damage. Zanis is not tanky enough. And number 3, Zanis has a very weak early game, which makes it virtually impossible to get really well fed and very strong as a Zanis to be able to carry. And as long as we're piling on to the negative Zanis train, he also doesn't have very good crowd control. He just brings very little to playing him as a solo queue player, or even worse when you're playing him in a team component. Guys, that is it for the Zanis hero quick look video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and as always, check out the other hero quick look videos. We're going to keep pumping them out until we finish with every single hero in the game. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, till next time.